To be entirely honest, I had completely forgotten about the Samsung Galaxy A70 and I thought it was overshadowed by that crazy swivel camera full screen display smartphone which is the Galaxy A80. But boy, was I wrong to shun the Galaxy A70 or what? This phone has completely taken me by surprise. The Galaxy A70 has an X factor that I can't really put my finger on. You know what? It is not really perfect, but what in life is really perfect? Well, I'm Ashar from Mr. Phone, and let's you and I together figure out what is it that makes the Galaxy A70 a good, if not great smartphone under rupees 30,000. But before we move on, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever Mr. Phone puts out an awesome new tech video, and we're doing that almost daily. Now, starting off with the design, the Galaxy A70 looks like an elongated version of the Galaxy A50. In fact, you really cannot tell the difference between the two except for the size, of course. So what you get is a polycarbonate body that is made to look like glass with some special engineering. Our black variant reflects light from the rear in unique colors. There are times when the phone looks blue and times when it looks like someone dropped a bucket of rainbow on it. It is a unique and attractive design, no doubt. That said, the use of plastic is a bit of a letdown for a phone in this price range. Samsung should have used metal or glass in the construction, in my opinion, especially because this plastic scratches very easily. I mean, even the most meticulous and careful of users will actually put a scratch on this smartphone. You will need a skin or a TPU case to go with it. Moving on, the phone is massive. Thankfully, Samsung has shaved off a considerable size of the bezels from the top to the bottom. While that still doesn't make it a one-handed phone, but we'll take what we get. The tiny chin especially makes watching videos on this phone a treat. Also, the rear is curved slightly and doesn't dig into your palms, making it comfortable to hold. Furthermore, you won't feel the seams where the rear blends into the metal midframe and then into the glass. It is a very premium construction, which is what you do expect from Samsung. The rest of the button placements and the ports are standard, and yes, you do get a Type-C port and a headphone jack at the bottom, so yay! Most of the action on the Galaxy A70 happens on the display. The 6.7-inch FHD Plus Super AMOLED panel is crisp, offers punchy colors, is bright and extremely attractive to look at. However, for some odd reason, the reds on the display are not as deep and look like a light orange instead. The brightness levels are great, but like most AMOLED screens, you will notice a perceptible color shift at a certain angle. The Galaxy A70's display looks warmer than normal. Otherwise, it has a fairly accurate color temperature. The display is only obstructed by a tiny water drop Infinity U notch. It is barely a distraction, if any. Additionally, you get an in-display fingerprint scanner on the phone. It is slower than a sloth on a lazy day, unfortunately. You can use the facial recognition system that uses the camera to unlock your phone. It is not a very secure biometric recognition because it unlocks even when your eyes are closed. This happens even if you switch off the faster facial recognition mode. Considering the fact that the display is of excellent quality, your video watching experience is going to be great. It would have been killer if Samsung had also added HDR10 or Dolby Vision support. That apart, the massive display manages to reel you in with its inky blacks and vibrant colors. I watched a couple of episodes of the Afterlife show on Netflix, and apart from the dark, tragic Ricky Gervais humor that hooked me in, the Galaxy A70's display turned out to be a perfect substitute for my big screen television for watching shows on the go. Your multimedia experience is further enhanced by the Dolby Atmos support on the phone. It works when you use a headphone with the Galaxy A70. With my KZ AS06 IEMs, I noticed that the sound quality was genuinely better with far better dynamics. Regardless, the headphone experience on the Galaxy A70 is one of the best you can find in its price range among the current crop of phones. Unfortunately though, the mono speaker at the bottom is a massive letdown. It is very soft and just doesn't sound good enough. The Samsung Galaxy A70 comes with the new One UI skin, which is on top of Android 9 Pie. I have talked at length, and Shri also has talked at length in his review of previous Samsung phones, so we'll link one of them here. It is the new interface that has bold cards with rounded corners and big fonts as well. Samsung has also made it easier to use with one hand by giving you the option to pull down the key UI elements and access points to the bottom half of the display. Obviously, it is a pity that the same philosophy doesn't apply to the app drawer, but we've passed on that feedback to Samsung. Now, the main draw for the Galaxy A70 is the full-fledged Samsung Pay support, which means you can tap your phone on any POS terminal that accepts a credit/debit card and the phone will make you poorer. But not all cards are accepted. For example, my Yes Bank debit card couldn't be added to Samsung Pay because Samsung doesn't support that debit card at the moment. So you will have to double check which banks are supported and which cards are supported by Samsung Pay. Having said that, when it comes to Samsung Pay, the Korean tech giant, at least in India, has literally no competition because there's no Apple Pay or Google Pay that is available here. And therefore, Samsung Pay is ruling the roost and it works absolutely beautifully. By the way, there is a tiny software tweak that Samsung has done exclusively for the Galaxy A70. Essentially, to ensure that you don't accidentally press any keys on the touchscreen keyboard, Samsung has moved it slightly upwards. This works like some sort of palm rest for your hands. It is a very thoughtful and useful change. Coming to the camera section, we have to start talking about the 32 megapixel ISOCELL GD1 sensor on the front camera of the Samsung Galaxy A70. This is one thing that unites the Vivo V15 Pro and the Redmi Y3. The Galaxy A70's front camera takes great selfies that look crisp, detailed, and are very color accurate. But here's a revelation. You can also take selfies in wide angle, but there is no dedicated wide angle camera. Then how does it do that? Essentially, the Galaxy A70 crops into the picture when you shoot a regular selfie, which means it is not shooting at 38 megapixel resolution by default. Yes sir, Sherlock. The Galaxy A70 shoots a full 32 megapixel resolution image only in the 4:3 H wide mode. I think the H here stands for high resolution. At 4:3 H regular mode, you get a 20 MP crop of the same shot. And guess what? By default, the Galaxy A70 shoots at 4:3 aspect ratio, which captures an 8 megapixel image. I am beyond astonished. This is just a weird implementation in my opinion, and a lot of regular users are going to be thinking that they are shooting in 32 megapixel resolution when they might as well be shooting at 8 megapixels. Regardless, it goes without saying that at 32 megapixel full res, you get the best looking selfies. However, the stutter and jerk in the 4K and 1080p videos from the rear camera are really bad. There is no stabilization to speak of. What is the point of good audio recording and great color reproduction if the visuals are going to be so jerky? I think all of Samsung's stabilization efforts are actually going to the S series flagships. You also get a 480 FPS super slow-mo video recording capability. So, I mean, it's useful for those who like it. Moving on, the rear camera captures great accurate colors, but the details are missing and the images look soft even in daylight. Thankfully, Camera 2 API is on and I managed to install a semi-working build of Gcam on the phone because there is no official build yet. You will immediately see that it can capture slightly better details, but the colors are unnatural to the point that it looks like you're in a different place altogether. It is too heavy on the browns and cranks up the warmth in general. Honestly, what you see on your screen right now is not what this building looked like. Also, here's the thing, Gcam is an unofficial software and it is not very stable. So comparing the images really don't make sense. Overall, I think that the Samsung Galaxy A70 could have benefited from, better camera performance and at least OIS in the rear camera. Having said that, I think I will keep using the selfie cameras more on the Galaxy A70. The Samsung Galaxy A70 uses a Snapdragon 675 system on chip coupled with 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. This is the de facto SoC on many mid-range and super mid-range smartphones, so there is no need to worry about performance. Yes, the Poco F1 offers a Snapdragon 845 system on chip and the Redmi Note 7 Pro comes with a Snapdragon 675 chip, and both these phones are considerably inexpensive in comparison. But these phones are the outliers, they are not the norm. Most of the other phones in this price range use either Snapdragon 710 or Snapdragon 675. So I don't think it makes sense to complain about the Snapdragon 675 on the Galaxy A70. And trust me, the performance is excellent through and through, and it makes a strong case for don't judge a phone by its hardware specs to be recognized as a modern adage. I found it to be nimble, fast, and extremely swift in day-to-day performance, and I literally faced no lags or stutters whatsoever. Weirdly though, my benchmark tests showed a lower number compared to the other SD675 phones like the Redmi Note 7 Pro or the Vivo V15 Pro. For example, in Antutu, the Galaxy A70 scored 1,67,000 odd compared to the 1,79,000 and 1,75,000 odd numbers scored by the Redmi Note 7 Pro and the Vivo V15 Pro respectively. Even the Geekbench numbers were lower for some reason. However, if you ask me, the Galaxy A70 was faster than both the phones in daily usage. And here is the reason why. The Galaxy A70 uses UFS storage. The read-write speeds of 505.17 MBs per second and 193.76 MBs per second are much higher than many phones in its price bracket. Couple this with the excellent RAM performance, I think the Galaxy A70 is a great performer through and through. The Galaxy A70 is no slouch when it comes to gaming either. PUBG runs at high graphics and it looks great on the massive display. I got a constant 30 FPS reading with a 97% FPS stability using Gamebench. And the best part, after a 30-minute gaming session, the phone just went up from 33 to 36.5 degrees. The phone doesn't heat up easily even after intensive gaming sessions. Now, all this performance might make you think that it might take a hit in the battery life of the 4500 mAh battery that is inside the phone, and that's where you are wrong, my friend. The Galaxy A70 has a great battery life and you can easily eke out a little more than a day's worth of usage from the phone. I got an average screen on time of around 6 hours and 30 minutes from the phone, which is good of course. You can also use the adaptive power saving feature for extended battery life. But let's not forget that the Galaxy A70 also has another trump card under its kitty, the 25-watt fast charging support. This is the fastest charging Samsung phone yet, and I could manage to charge the large 4500 mAh battery in 1 hour and 53 minutes. It is still not blazing fast, but it is great nonetheless. With the Galaxy A70, you really don't have to worry about call quality or network reception. It is the best. I had no time hearing the person on the other end in my calls, and my voice was crystal clear too. The 4G performance was excellent as well. So we're at the end of the review, and the Samsung Galaxy A70 completely broke all my preconceived notions that this is yet another Samsung smartphone. In fact, using this phone was a great experience for me, and during that time I didn't miss my flagship at all. In fact, I can keep using this phone, no worries. It has a great battery life, reliable performance, great audio video capabilities, and more. However, I would have liked better camera performance and of course better speakers as well. Considering all of that, let's compare the Galaxy A70 with its peers in the same price range. Starting off with the Poco F1, which is a mass favorite of course, especially because it has a far more powerful Snapdragon 845 chip. That said, the Galaxy A70 is a better looking phone even objectively, and it has a far more refined software experience as well. Obviously, the Poco F1 continues to be a steal deal, but the Galaxy A70 is a phone that is bound to be an attractive proposition for everyone apart from the spec nerds out there. Now coming to the Vivo V15 Pro, it is an excellent substitute to the Galaxy A70. In more ways than one, the V15 Pro is identical to the A70 with the Snapdragon 675 SoC and 32 megapixel selfie camera. But objectively, the V15 Pro offers crisper shots from the rear camera, but the front camera pictures are almost on par. And the V15 Pro has a faster in-display scanner. But the Galaxy A70 has undoubtedly better ergonomics and a far more refined software experience. I'd go for the Galaxy A70 over the V15 Pro if you would ask me. Now finally, I'd like to compare the Galaxy A70 against the Nokia 8.1. It is easy to forget the Nokia 8.1, but trust me, this is an excellent phone too. The stock Android experience on the phone gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. The design is great too, especially with its glass body. I'm actually finding it tough to pick between the two because the Galaxy A70 is equally good in most aspects, if not better. Maybe you can pick the Nokia if you're a fan of stock Android, and the Galaxy A70 if you like Samsung's user experience. A toss-up between the two only confuses me more. To sum it up, the Galaxy A70 may not win you over with the on-paper specs, but trust me, the more you keep using it, I'm convinced that you will like the Galaxy A70. So that's it from me, Eshart from Mr. Phone. I hope you guys liked this review. Do let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. And as usual, don't forget to hit that like button and share and subscribe because we need more of you guys watching our content. Until next time, Goodbye and Godspeed, my friends.